Very good evening, one and all. It's better to recap all the topics which we are covered in the last session. So we discussed the units, CSS units, and we have two kinds of units: absolute units and relative units. When we are going to use absolute units, we can directly apply the each and every unit to the specific element. But whereas when we are going to use relative units, the relative units are depends upon another elements such as parent and other elements. Just confirm whether am I audible or not. Kindly respond in the chat box. Yes, audible. Yes, thank you. And also discussed the concept of flex boxes. For implementing the effective layouts, we have to use flex boxes. For using flex box concept, we have to use parent-child relationship. We created two kinds of divisions yesterday, and one is for parent and second one is for child. And we applied a few kinds of properties. Those are flux direction. So we have yes, I'm audible. Thank you for responding, each one of you. I hope you are able to see my screen, right? I shared my screen just now. Yes. So I would like to recap all the concepts which we covered yesterday. Yes. So these are the concepts we discussed. First property is display. If you want to apply the flex properties, we have to use display property. And the corresponding value for this is flex. We have to use display flex. And we discussed flex directions. We have four kinds of directions: row, row reverse, column, and column reverse. Similarly, we used flex wrap also. When the total width of the children exceeds the parent element, then we have to wrap into a new line. For that reason, we have to use flex wrap concept. Similarly, we discussed flex flow property. Flex flow is nothing but the combination of flex direction and flex wrap. All right. And also discussed justify content. Justify content is useful for aligning the text or aligning the element in horizontal manner in the same line. So we have few kinds of values for that. The first one is flex start. When we are going to use flex start, the information will be displayed from the left side. Similarly, flex end, if you want to display the right side, we have to use flex end. If you want to display the data in center alignment, we have to use center as the value. By using space around property, we can get space around the element. We discussed child concept yesterday. So in the child, we used space around. When we are going to use space around value for a child, we are able to see the space around the element. And space between is nothing but we can get the space, equally divided space between the elements. Very similar to that, we have another property, that is align items. By using align items property, we can align items vertically. whereas justify contained align items horizontal manner. The corresponding value for the align items are flex start, flex end, center, and stretch. When we are going to use flex start, we can display that information to the top of the document. Similarly, when we are going to use flex end property, we can display that information in the bottom of the document. By using center, we can get the text or element in the central element vertically. Similarly, stretch means the element occupies the full width of the parent. These are the concepts of flex boxes. Design layouts for various screen resolutions, that is response time. So any kind of folder here, so I would like to create a project. Create folder, so the folder name is project. And it's time to open the folder. So open folder, and my folder is available in desktop environment. The folder name is project. So let me open this. Alright, so we just now created this folder, so we don't have any kind of files in it, so we have to create the elements of it. So this is the project, and I'm going to create a root file, so that is index.html. Similarly, I'm going to create a folder that is for CSS. Alright, so we have a project along with a folder and a file. So the folder name is CSS and the file name is index.html. We already created. So in this we have to create another file. In CSS folder we have to create another file for styling. So that is style.css. Alright, so we just now created style.css. Very quick. So now we have to use HTML concepts. So we have to print the basic HTML elements. So HTML is okay, and HTML is the combination of head and body. And we have to mention the title. So this is a sample web document here, and it's time to create the body part. Yes, now it's clear. So it's better to mention the lang attribute for increasing the accessibility. Lang equals to EN/US. So English from United States. Alright, so it's better to use the version of HTML. For that we have to use doc type HTML. Cool. Now we created a file with the name of style.css. This file is available in CSS folder. We have to provide the link of this for the source. So we have to mention that in head attribute or head section by using link attribute. Link rel equals to style sheet, and we have to provide the href. So we have to provide the source of it. Source of the CSS document. So CSS document is available in CSS folder with the name of style.css. Awesome. Now it's time to design the layouts. It's time to design the layouts responsibly. So here I'm going to design layouts. The first one is I'm going to use the semantic elements. That is section. So I would like to provide the class like parent here. Class equals to parent. Great. Now we have to create the children. For that I'm going to use article. So I'm going to use class name, that is child1, child1. And similarly for second article we have to use child2. So we have two kinds of children here. The first one is child1 and the second one is child2, right? So this is the parent attribute. The section is having parent class, and similarly we created two kinds of children for this. So those are articles, but those are separated with the class names. The class name for child1 is child1. Similarly child2 is the second child. So now it's time to declare the styles for these parent and child1 and child2. So for the parent we have to use flex parent, and we have to use display flex. Clear. Now I would like to use flex flow property. Flex flow. So now tell me, what is the importance of flex flow? What is flex flow? Can anyone respond in the chat box? What is flex flow? Can anyone respond? Flex flow. Wrap and row. I'm asking, is combination of flex direction and flex wrap. Yes, Mahesh responded. Make the flexible items display in reverse order and wrap if necessary. Is it reverse order? Mahesh responded. So that is, we have the combination of flex direction and flex wrap. Yes, Pawan is also responded. Flex direction and flex wrap. Direction of the articles as well as the wrapping also. Okay, thank you. Thank you for responding. So flex flow, the combination of flex direction and the flex wrap property. So I'm going to use row as the flex direction, and I'm going to use wrap as the wrap property, flex wrap property. Similarly, I'm going to use justify content, that is center. I'm using justify content center. So just now I created a parent element. Similarly, I'm going to create the child1 and child2. For child1, I'm going to use width. The width for this is something like 25%, 25%. And similarly, margin is 1%, and padding is also 1%. Cool. Similarly, I would like to create the border, that is 1px solid and has DDT. Cool. This is the child1. So next we are having another child, that is child2. I'm going to create another child also, that is child2, and the width for this is I'm going to use 65%, and similarly I'm going to use margin and padding. Margin is 1%, padding is also 1%, and border, we have to use the border, is 1px solid and has DDD. Now DDD means gray color. So save this and execute in the browser once. So before going to execute, yes, let me execute first and then we can fill the data. So project, and so index.html is the root file, so we have to execute from here. So let me open this with Google Chrome. Now here two childs gets created. The first one is having 25% of the width, and second one is having 65% of the width. These two are separated by margins. Cool. And I'm going to use the elements such as, for example, this is the portfolio of me. So H2, I'm going to use my name. Cool. And I'm going to use the EM attribute for displaying the text in italic. That is multi-skill trainer at APSSDC. Cool. And I'm going to use a horizontal line for this. Clear. Let me save this and execute in the browser. Now we are able to see Hanuman Kumar P, and this is the multi-skill trainer. Alright. So it's better to apply the text align property. By using text align property, we can center the text. So text align, and that is center. So by using this, we can align the text in center line, center order. So let me save this and execute in the browser once. Alright, so we are able to see the text in center. So we used text align property. Similarly, we have a H2 element and EM. Alright. And here I'm going to use a paragraph tag for defining address or anything else, right? So first of all, I'm going to use anchor element A. So, and I'm going to use href equals to, so we have to use mail to, because we are going to provide the mail address between the anchor elements. So mail to, and I'm going to provide my email ID. So Hanuman Kumar dot APSSDC, Hanuman Kumar dot P at APSSDC.in. Alright. Now it's better to provide this same email address between the anchor elements, opening and closing elements. So let me open this and paste that information and save this and execute in the browser. Now we're able to see my email address here. Similarly, I'm going to use the telephone number, that is a href equals to tel. So this is the telephone. So I'm going to use my mobile number also. So this is the sample mobile number. I just provided a sample mobile number. Similarly, between the anchor elements, I'm going to use this number. So just copy this and paste it here. Cool. Let me execute once again. Yes, but we are able to see the two elements in the same line, horizontal. So it's better to use display block property. So for anchor elements, I'm going to use display block property. Display block property is nothing but we can provide an ability to occupy the full width of the body or the parent element. So here I'm going to use anchor element. So the anchor element is available in child 1. So child 1, and I'm going to use anchor element. So it's better to use display block property for this. Display block. By using this property, we can make the normal element as the block level element. By using block level element, we can occupy the full width of the parent. Let me save this and execute in the browser. Alright, now it occupies the full width of the body. So it's better to remove the underline property. So for that, we have to use text decoration. Text decoration, and that is none. Save this and execute in the browser. Cool. Now it's clear. We are able to see the result. Now this is very clear. I hope you might be understand all these concepts, right? You're doing you're doing parallelly with me. You're doing the same example parallelly. Yes, yes. Swarna, yes, responded. Yes, Nagaswati is also responded. Yes. So if you are having any kind of doubts, you can respond in the chat box. I will resolve them. Yes. Rajsekhar Reddy is also responded. Thank you, Rajsekhar Reddy. Yes. Okay. Obviously, is also responded. Yes. Okay. So cool. So, and if you want to change the color code, so I already explained. So we need not to use. We should not use any kind of color names directly. We have to get the color codes from the one web page. We already discussed about it. So we have to use HTML color codes directly. So we have to use HTML color codes. We have a site that is htmlcolorcodes.com. From that we can get that information. So, all right, I'm going to use blue color text again. So I'm going to select this text. Okay, this color. So copy this. Here we are able to see the color code. So I'm going to copy this color code and paste it. That is color, and this is the color code. So remember everyone, this is very, very important. So when we are going to use capital letters, most of the browsers are not able to understand. So we have to use small case letters for defining a color code. So B, and this is the C. All right. So let me save this and execute in the browser once again. Yes, the color gets changed. The color gets changed. Similarly, if you want to change the color of this, you can. So let me use any other colors. Yes, I would like to apply this color for the name field that is available in H2. So we have to use dot child1 and we have to use H2. This is the child component. We are using space, so this is the child component. So I'm going to use color, and that is, again we have to use all the small case letters A, D, 7F and 2A. So we can apply the text to shadow also. I'm going to use text to shadow, that is 3px, 3px and 3px. 3px is for right side shadow, and 3px is for bottom side shadow, and this is the blur ratio. And I'm going to use #D. This is the gray color. And let me save this and execute in the browser. Alright, now we are able to see the shadow also here. We are able to see the shadow also. Okay, very clear. And I'm going to use some other text for this multi-skill trainer also. So that is, yes. So that is 978F81. To save this, we can copy that information and paste it. And so that is for EM. So I'm going to use child1 and EM. So that is color is the property for this, and we have to paste that information. So this is the hash code. So we have to use hash symbol, and again we have to use the small case letters. We should not use any kind of capital letters. That reflects the browser compatibility. So it's better to save this and execute in the browser once. Clear. Now we just change the colors of each and every element of it. So we use different kinds of color codes and we design finally. Great. And now it's time to apply the box shadow. So the children, we created two children here, child 1 and child 2, but we didn't apply any kind of box shadow for that. So let me use box shadow. box shadow, that is 0 px, 8 px, 8 px, and minus 8 px, and it has tribbles here. So this is for getting shadow the bottom section. So we made right side shadow as 0 px, so we are not able to see, we won't see the right side shadow, so we can see the bottom shadow. The color code is #00. Save this and execute in the browser again. Cool. Now we are able to see the shadow also here. All right. Now it's time to create the second part, our second children. So I'm going to use some kind of a summary. So for summary, we have to use UL attribute. UL, cool, and LI. So we have to use list items. The first summary, that is having 5 plus years of experience as a software developer. Apart from this, having teaching also. Great. Now again another list item. Exposure, front, and backend technologies too. Clear. So front end means we have different kinds of technologies. So HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, Materialize, JavaScript, yes, JavaScript, React, and front end technologies like PHP, Express, and Coordinator, and Python. Clear. And the next list item. The next list item, it is developed database connections for middle level and high level projects. By using MySQL and NoSQL. Similarly, another list item, having knowledge on APIs such as REST, SOAP, and graphical. So these are the sample elements. These are the sample list items. This is for summary only. So let me save this and execute in the browser once. So these are the summary elements. These are the summary elements, and it's better to use the H2 for this article, H2, that is summary. Clear. And it's better to use HR also. So I just used H2 and HR. So we can get the horizontal line as well as the H2 element, that is summary. So when we are going to increase the height of this second element, the first element is also increased. So we have to fix this by using height attribute. So let me open style.css, and in child 1 we can use height attribute. Height, that is 200 px, semicolon, and save this and execute in the browser once. Here. So it's better to use 180 px. Save this and execute. Now it's fine. Similarly, for summary, it's better to use the text color like this. So we applied this, and it's better to use comma child 2 also. So for both child 1 and child 2, we are using this color code. We'll save this and execute. Now we are able to see the summary is also having same kind of color. So we used the combination. So we used comma for the separation. So when we are going to use comma, so we can apply the same kind of styles to both the selectors. So the elements, the styles are applicable to these two children, child 1 and child 2. And the common element here is H2. So what are the H2 elements available in the child 1 and child 2? So those elements are having this kind of color code. Save this and execute in the browser. Now it's clear up to now. So we just used few kinds of color codes, and we implemented a sample profile object. And similarly, if you want to apply the text, the font type, you can apply font type by using font family property. So we have different kinds of font families available. So I'm going to use the font family for all the elements in this document. So we already discussed, for applying styles to all the elements, we have to use universal selector, that is star. And I'm going to use font family property. And here we can provide any kind of font family as we record. So I am going to use Helvetica. This is the most popular font family used for many kinds of web applications. That is Helvetica. So save this and execute in the browser once. I think Helvetica is not supported by the browser. So it's better to use Arial instead of Helvetica. Arial, we have Arial also. So it's better to use a combination. So we can use Arial, Helvetica, and sans serif. These three are the wonderful combination for any kind of web application. So this is one kind of font family. We save this and execute. Now we're able to see the difference. So finally, we created two children, child 1 and child 2. And child 1 is for the basic profile, and child 2 is for some kind of description area. And it's better to apply the shadow property for this also. So I'm going to use shadow for the child 2. So I would like to mention this same kind of shadow which is already used in child 1. Okay. Let me save this and execute. Okay, now we are able to see the shadow for the second child also, that is child 2. Now we created two kinds of children. We created two children. The first one is for profile basic information, and second one is for explanation.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Would you please stop your screen and reshare once again?
Okay.
Suppose the students are not getting your screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now is it visible? Is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir. It's visible for me.
Okay. So I don't know where we left. So it's better to show the code once again. Screen is not visible. So for Morally, the screen is not visible. So most of the people are responding yes, getting the problem. Also, yes, sir, visible. Okay, okay, visible. So Morally, you have just try to check the network connectivity once again. Yes, Divya has also responded, and Pavan is also responded. Yes, Shaik also respond. Yes, 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 visible. Upendra is also responding. Yes, Morally, is it visible now? Past 6 minutes. Oh, then it's better to show you the code, right? I would like to show my code so that you can understand because I don't know actually. So now it's visible. Okay. I would like to show the code first. So this is the child one. So these are the different kinds of properties for child one, and this is for child two, child one and child two. Child one and child two we already created. So similarly applied styles for anchor element. Anchor element is also complete. So I just used the box shadow. I just used the box shadow for child 1 and child 2. Similarly, I implemented an unordered list. If you observe this, here I used an unordered list for summary. I created summary and I used a few kinds of li list items along with unordered list. Is ul. So Pavani asked me that, sir, can you please share the code in chat box? Okay, which code you want? HTML part or CSS part, Pavani? CSS part, CSS. Okay. So I will share the CSS code. If you don't mind, kindly you have to check chat box every 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, sure, Upendra. I will try to check for every 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Thank you for the suggestion. Just copy this, the code part, and paste it in the chat box, right? So we have, I think we have a limitation for the chat. So it's better to share the code in the document we are preparing every day. Sure, Gopi. Okay. So this is the coding part. I just copy that information in daily document. So if you want the yes, am I audible now? Okay, I will continue. So similarly, I would like to copy that HTML coding part also. If you're getting any kind of issue, you can recap all this stuff again. So by using this coding part, we save this, copy this, and paste it in the document which we are having. So this is the document. So this is the index.html code. Clear? Clear. So we used index.html and CSS. This is the styler CSS code. Code from styler CSS. Alright. Similarly, I'm going to use the output also, because this is very important. How the output is looking like, that is very important when we are using this coding part. So I'd like to use this is the output for this. Cool. Okay, and it's better to paste it here in the document. This is something like expected output. This is the output. Okay. Now it's time to design layouts for various screen resolutions such as mobiles, tablets, and desktops. So let me show you how to implement that. For implementing that, we have to mention a meta element in the HTML document in the head part of this. So that is meta. For meta, we have to use two attributes. First one is name. Meta name equals to viewport, and so remember we have to use this kind of data for each and every responsive design. So meta name equals to viewport, and the content. Second one is the content equals to, we have to provide width equals to device width, and we have to use initial scale. Initial scale equals to 1. So when we are going to design a responsive design, we have to use meta element along with the two attributes, that is name and content. So name equals to viewport. So we already discussed about viewport. Viewport is changing for each and every device. So for small scale devices like keypad and mobile devices, we have a smaller viewport. And for medium scale devices such as iPad and iPad or tablets, we can get the medium resolution. Similarly, for desktops and project apps, so we can get high viewport level. So again, we are using content, that is width equals to device width. So when we are going to visit website in various kinds of screen resolutions, the website width is automatically equals to the device width. And similarly, initial scale equals to 1. So when we are going to use CSS units, so that is 1:1 ratio for the device independent pixels, that is responsive pixels. So this is name equals to viewport and content equals to width equals to device width, comma, initial scale equals to 1. Alright, let me save this and let me look into the output first. So now it's time to check the responsiveness of this web application. So for that we have to use Control Shift I, or we can right click on the web page, and you can use inspect element. So this is when we are going to visit website in something like which one is this? So first of all, mobile device. In Galaxy S5 we are able to see the information like this. This is a very worst. Is worst design. This is the bad design. So we have to implement the responsive design for this. Cool. So first of all, we have to starting with the mobile device. The mobile device we are having 320 to 767. The ratio for mobile device is 320 to 767. We are calculating the width property only. All right. So now let me open the style.css and use the media queries. So we have to use media queries, and each and every screen resolution we have to mention the minimum width and maximum width. So I'm going to use media and only. So this is the syntax screen, and we have to use end. So here we have to mention the min width. The min width is 320px, and max width we have to use max width also. Max width, that is 767px. So we have to use braces again. So this is for mobile devices. So that is small scale devices. This is for small scale devices. So in small scale devices, the width is from 320px to 767px. Minimum width is 320px and maximum width is 767px. Cool. Now it's better to change the widths of specific device. So for example, here we have child 1 and child 2. So for child 1 and child 2, I'm going to use the widths like child 1, comma, and for child 2, I'm going to use widths like 90%. I'm using 90%. That means it occupies the full width. And similarly, if you observe this in the output, the text is overlapping. The text is continuously displaying. So when the block is fulfilled, so the text will be wrapped. So we have to use wrap property. So for that we have to use word wrap property. So let me use word wrap property here. So here email is we are getting email in continuity order like this. Similarly, Hanuman Kumar and all the elements are getting this kind of scenario, follows this kind of scenario. So what will I do? So I'm going to use wrap property, that is, so in the universal selector I'm going to use, so word wrap, word and wrap property. So that is, we have to use break word. So when we are going to use this property, word wrap property, so when the element width is depends upon the parent element or some for example, if the width of the present text, something like we are having H2 element. In the H2 element, the text is overlapping first. So this is happening because the width of the parent element, that is child 1, is very small than compared to this H2. So in the situations, we have to use the word wrap property. So I used word wrap, and let me refresh. Now we are able to see the result here. So we are using full width in the mobile devices. So we just write the media queries for mobile devices only. So for media only screen, and min width is 320px and max width is 767px. So between these resolutions, we can apply the measurements for child 1 and child 2. Sir, can you tell us about import? Yes, I will tell you important also. And Durga Vasu, if you are using any CSS framework for your project, important means it's a important or mandatory for the element tag. In the scenario, framework tag not applicable for the content. Okay, so the important is also plays a crucial role. So yes, let me apply few kinds of properties by using important also. So is this clear up to now? First of all, I would like to know about this. So we applied styles for small scale devices. So we used media queries. Is this clear up to now? Yes, clear. Yes, clear. Okay. So, sir, can you explain us by creating a new web page by using the styles in CSS? I mean, like real-time example, like creating Facebook login page or some other. Yes, we can do that. Okay, definitely. We will use some kind of form controls also. We will explain them also. Possible, please explain us by using CSS and HTML. Sure. So we can create that. Okay, no problem. But don't use any kind of Facebook or any other external sites, because we are having our own functionalities. So we will design based on our criteria. So don't depend upon other websites like Facebook and all this stuff. Whatever it may be, we will. Yes. So again, I'm so who is that asking that important? So yes. So Durga Vas is also asked me yesterday. So I will explain with a small example here. Important. So I would like to create something like a paragraph tag. So this is for sample. Don't do any kind of modifications in your code. Just observe the coding part from my screen. So here I'm going to use a paragraph tag. A paragraph tag. In that I would like to write text. So this is a sample. This is a sample paragraph. Sample paragraph. So I would like to use an ID for this. ID or plus. So let me use ID. ID is text. All right. So I'm going to use styles for the specific paragraph element here. So in the style.css, so I would like to use the CSS. So that is something like color, that is blue. I'm going to use blue color. So just save this once and execute in the browser. sample web document, and here yes, we are able to see this is a sample paragraph. The text is in blue color, so we are able to see the blue color text because we applied the blue color. So we applied the blue color for the font of the paragraph. So here, if you observe this, we are using an ID that is text. Here we are using ID that is text. Similarly, I'm going to use ID for this also. Something like text, hash text. And in this, I would like to mention a color code that is something like uh, color that is something like red. I would like to use red color. Let me save this and execute. What will happen? It's very important to understand. So because for the same element we are applying styles. Okay, let me save this and execute. Now we are able to see that in red color. Why not we are not getting the color in blue color? So because in the last session, this is the last property for this. That is the reason we are able to see the red color. So when we are going to use red color as well as not important, not important, and let me save this and execute in the browser once and save this, refresh. Yes, even also we are getting red color text. So all the stuff is correct. Okay. Uh, yes, yes. So yes, I'm going to use the important, not important for blue color. Let me copy and paste this here, and it's better to remove this and execute in the browser once. So where is this document? So this is the document. So here we are able to see the blue color text. So just we are avoiding this, and similarly when we are going to use the important to the red color, so we can get the red color text tone. So this is the difference. So when we are need to apply the color codes for uh, same kind of paragraph by using different kinds of selectors. So here we are using element selector and ID selector for applying same kind of color code. So here color is blue, and here color is blue, and here we applied color red. So when we are going to use this, we have to avoid at least one color. So by default, we are able to see the text as red color because this is the last applicable color. So by default, it will be applicable when we are going to avoid a specific color. So we have to mention the important for which color if you want to display. So here I would like to display the text in red color. That is the reason I used important for this red color. Not only this color code, you can apply styles based for any kind of properties based on our requirement. So that is the use of important. My voice is breaking. Am I audible now? Yes, yes. Yes, okay, this is all about the important. So is there any doubt? If you are having any kind of doubts, please let me know. I will explain. Oh, it's clear, okay. Now audible. So are you able to follow the session? So we used media queries. Is that clear to everyone? We applied media queries for small scale devices, that is mobile devices. Yes, clear. So is there any doubt in that? So we used the syntax like this. So we used media queries, that is a media only screen. This is for small scale devices. So when we are going to visit a website in small scale devices, we can get that like this. So let me save this, copy and paste it in the document. This is for better understand. So media queries. This is for mobile device, and similarly, I would like to apply styles to the iPad. So iPad ranges from here 767 is completed. So iPad ranges from 768 to 1023px. Okay. So let me use the same kind of media queries for medium scale device. Medium scale devices. So let me use the media queries, media only screen, and min width, that is, so here 768, this one is 768 px, 2, and we have to use the maximum width also. So the maximum width, that is 1023px, because from 1024 we can get the large scale devices such as desktops, laptops, projectors, all this stuff. Clear. Cool. Now for child 1 and child 2 I'm going to apply the same kind of width for child 1, and for the child 2 I'm going to apply the width as 50%. Not 50, 45. It's better to use 45%, because we are using margin and padding properties. So that may reflects to the entire width of the parent element. So that is the reason it's better to use 45, because we are already having margin and padding. All right. So let me save this and execute in the browser once. So this is for small scale devices and medium scale devices. So we used two kinds of resolutions. One is for iPad and one is for Samsung devices. So let me save this and refresh. So let me check the responsiveness of these two applications, two devices. So this is for mobile, and when we are going to visit the same kind of web application in the iPad, so this is for iPad. So if you observe, this is very small because the zooming level is 50% on. So let me increase the zoom in level to 100% so that you can easily understand. This is original iPad. So we can see the elements in iPad like this. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Now it's clear up to now. But how we are going to respond, how we are going to design responsive images. So when we are going to use the images, how we are going to make responsiveness for that. That is also very, very crucial part. So let me download an image from online. So it's better to use SVG icons. I'm going to use flaticon.com. Flaticon.com. By using this website, this is not open source, but we can get the image, few kinds of images freely. So without any kind of charge. So I'm going to use user profile image. User profiles. It's loading. Yes, yes. So we're able to see different kinds of images. Yes, it's better to use like this. This is the very craziest one. Just click on this. And here we have this PNG and SVG. So I recommended you to download SVG icons, because when we are going to SVG icons, so it increases the quality of the image. When we are going to zoom in the image, the quality remains same. But when we are going to use raster images are nothing but, so the images are captured by the physical cameras. So for example, when we are going to capture an image from our mobile device, that is called as raster image. When we are going to zoom in that image, the quality of that image may decreases. So it's better to use SVG icons. When we are going to use SVG icons, these are developed by using paths. So when we are going to zoom in this image, the image quality remains same. Let me download the SVG image, free download, and my image is getting download. It's taking lack of time because the internet speed is not sufficient for downloading this image. So yes, my icon downloaded, that is profile.svg. So I am going to use that image, profile.svg, and copy this, and it's better to use that in our project. So in project, so this is my project folder. So here we have CSS folder and index.html. I'm going to use assets folder. So when we're going to use multimedia objects and all this stuff, it's better to create a folder with the name of assets. In that, I'm going to use another folder, that is img, images. Img is another folder. In that, I would like to save that image. That is profile.svg. So I created assets. In that, I created img. In that, I have profile.svg. So the element is assets, and the child element is image, and the grandchild is profile.svg. So we have generations like this in the follow structure. Similarly, it's better to implement the images in our profile. So in index.html, I'm going to use image tag. So above the name, so I'm going to use image attribute, img. So and I would like to use img src equals to. So my image is available in assets folder. In assets folder, we have another folder, that is img. Similarly, we have another image, that is profile.svg. All right. So let me save this and execute in the browser. So this is, and we are able to see the image like this. So the image quality is remains same, but it is overlapping. So let me use a few kinds of styles for this. So let me open. So this is the image. So this image is available in child 1. So in child 1, so in child 1, I'm going to use space img, and I'm going to provide the width, that is I'm using 100%. So because this is related to the parent width, it accepts or it occupies the full width of the parent. So here the parent is child 1, it occupies entire width of it. 100% means it occupies the full width of the parent. What is the parent width actually? The parent width is having 25%. And if we save this and execute in the browser, now it's clear. So it's better to decrease the size little bit for the image. So in child 1 img, I'm going to use 70%. The width of the image is 70% now. Let me save this and execute in the browser again. Yes, now we are able to see the image like this. But we are fixed the width, the height of the first child. So it's better to use the height as 250, 250 px. Save this and execute in the browser again. Oh yes, even also we need to increase the width, the height little bit. So I am going to use 350, 350 px. Now it's clear. Now it's fine. So if you want to apply the border, we can apply the border for the image also. So I'm going to use border. So that is, I'm going to use border radius instead of border. So border radius, I'm using 50%, 50%, and refresh. Now we are able to see the radius for this image. Alright, now let me visit this application in different kinds of resolutions again. So this is in iPad. In iPad, we have to increase the width, height of it. We have to increase the height of the child one. So for child one, I'm going to use height property child one, and the height is something like 300 px. In iPad, I'm using this 300 px. 300, that is also very small, and it's better to use 500. Save this and execute. Now it's fine. Now it's fine, so it's better to use 400. Save this and execute. Now fine. This is in iPad, and similarly I'm going to visit this in mobile devices, Moto Z4. So in Moto Z4 also we have to increase the height. So because if you observe this here, the content is overlapped to the bottom section. So I'm going to use height. Height, that is 500 px in mobile device. We save this and execute in the browser. No, it is also too large. So I would like to use 300. This is very small, and it's better to use 400 directly. 400, and save this and execute. Yes, now it's fine. I just used 400 px for the height, and this is how we are going to design a website for various screen resolutions. Alright, so now it's time to use the tables, how we are make the tables responsive. So we know how to use an image in responsive manner. So how we are going to display an image in various kinds of resolutions by using responsive design principle, but how we are going to print a table in responsive manner. So for that we have to use a table. So I'm going to use a table here. So I think all of you guys are following. Yes, it's clear. Yes, Prahalad is also responding. So it's clear. Thank you for responding. So if you are having any kind of queries, you can respond here. So now I'm going to implement the responsiveness for a table. So my code, this is my code, and this is the second one. So I would like to remove the paragraph, and here I'm going to use H2, that is skills. I'm using skills here. Skills, and it's better to use HR, horizontal line. Save this and execute in the browser once. Now we're able to see skills here, So now we have to apply the table concept. So I'm going to use table, and as we discussed earlier, we have two sections in table. The first one is T head. This is the table heading, and next one is T body. Alright, so we have two sections, T head and T body. Alright, this is the table head and this is the table body. So if you want to use the caption, you can apply the caption also. So caption, this is for educational qualifications. Educational qualifications, and save this and execute in the browser. Yes, now we are able to see the educational qualifications here, and I would like to use this as educational qualifications. Alright, now in T head we have to create a heading part first. That is TH, and first of all we have to create the TR. This is one kind of row in the table head section, and I'm using TH. The first one is degree, and the next one is another TH. TH. So degree, and this is institute. Okay. So next one is another TH. So that is year. So I'm using two kinds of attributes as table heading. So degree, institute, and year. So year of passing, I think. Year of passing. Year of pass. Year of pass. Okay. Degree, institute, and year of pass. So these are the three elements in the table concept. Okay, let me save this and execute. Yes, now we're able to see degree, institute, and year of pass. So I think it's better to use the table border also. Yes, I'm going to use border. That equals to, we have a border property, right? So we can apply the border also for the table. It is 1, so we are getting this information like this. And this is not that much of good. We have to use the styling properties for the table. So I'm going to use the table tag again. We have only one table. So table, and I'm going to use the width property for the table. So that is 100% width. Save this. So we used table element as a selector for this. Table element as a selector, and we used the width property. And the width here is 100%. And it's better to use 90% because we are using some kind of spacing between the cells. So 90% is enough for a table. And save this and execute. Now we are able to see full width of the table here. Clear. And it's time to implement the body part. So first one is the TR. In that we need to use TD. So that is BTech. So BTech in the specialization of something like computer science or EC. Computer science and engineering. Clear. And I'm going to use another TD. Another TD, that is institute. So I'm going to use the institute. Is something like Raghu Engineering College. And year of passing, we have to mention the year of passing also here. So that is something like 2015. This is a sample data. This is a sample data. So and refresh. Now we're able to see all the information here. So BTech, and we have college name and year of passing. So this is a table. we can use cell padding and cell spacing also for a table. So let me apply that. So here we got few kinds of questions. So reminding iPhone every mobile device should work. How can I write? So we applied queries for all the devices. So the keypad mobile from the keypad mobile range, keypad mobiles are starting with 320px, and the recent smartphones are having maximum of 767px as the width. So we have a few kinds of LG mobiles and Google Pixels and Samsung. Those are having high resolutions in the format of width. So in that cases, we have to give full width, something like 700px or 730px like that. So for that, sir, can you use collapse table collapse value for it? Yes, you can use that also. So here we are using cell padding and cell spacing only. So first of all, let me use cell padding. So what is that? Yes. So this is the table, and I'm going to use cell padding. So I'm going to apply that this to direct pH. So let me open the table, and I'm going to use table and tr and th. So we are applying the padding to the pH directly. So that is padding, that is 1%. Save this and execute in the browser once. Now we are able to see the padding here. We are able to observe the padding. And again, I'm going to use the padding for TDs also. So it's better to decrease the size of it. So I'm going to use 0.5% of padding. This is cell padding. So if you want to apply the cell spacing, we can use the margin property. So whatever it may be, it's better to avoid the HTML elements for applying the styles. So we have cell padding and cell spacing attribute, but so we need to use the CSS properties directly because we are having a CSS file, right? So it's better to use the CSS properly. We can implement the styles in the CSS file only. So similarly, I'm going to use same kind of styles for TD also. So TR, so this is T head. This is the format, and this is T body. The T body we have TR and TD. So in that we are applying 0.5%. So this is how we are getting cell padding. So between the cells we are getting a space. So if you want to get the space between the cells, we have to use margin property. So here we need not to use any kind of margin property. So that is the reason I used padding only. Save this and execute in the browser. Now it's clear. We are able to see a small difference. So we applied 0.5% for padding for each and every cell in this. This is all okay, but how we are going to apply the responsiveness for this table? So first of all, it's better to change the heading color. We have a color that is already applied for the H2 attribute. So I'm going to use this same color again. So the color here is #978F81. We copy this, and it's better to apply the color to the T head part. It is T head, the background is this color. I'm going to use this color. So let me save this and refresh. Now the color applied. So this is not the color code we are required. So this is something like, this is not dark color we want, so we used some kind of other elements. Yes, this one. So this color we need. So let me copy this information and paste it again in here for the t head, and I'm going to use background, and I'm going to use this color. All right, so we refresh. Now we're able to see the color. And again, this is all about the table concept. So I'm going to use 100% directly, or 95% because this is very small and comparing to previous one. So now it's fine. And here I'm going to use another TD, another table row for the body section, table body section. So it's better to copy this data from TR. Copy this data and paste it after this TR closing. So that TR here we are having TR, right? So copy this information, and after this TR closing tag of the TR, we have to paste that information. So this is something like diploma. So most of the people are from diploma. You can mention your criteria. So don't copy and paste all the stuff from this website. This is computer engineering here, and we have to mention the college name here. So something like, so we can mention the year of passing. So diploma 2012. Okay, it's fine. We save this and execute. And now we're able to see this one. So this is the table. When we are going to visit the same kind of table in different kinds of screen resolutions. So if you observe this is completely disgusting. So the table is completely collapsed into data. So we have to use responsiveness for the table also. So when we are going to scroll horizontally, it is scrolling. So it is a bad design. It is one of the bad design. So we have to avoid this. So we have to use overflow properties for this. Let me use overflow for the table. So it's better to use a table in a division. So I'm going to use apply the division for the table first. So division open and division close. So division is also closed here. So I'm going to use the closing tag of the division after the closing tag of the table. So this is the table here, and I'm going to use a class name for this division. So that is class equals to table responsive. So this is for getting responsive table. That's it. So this is how we are going to use a division. So here we are using a division above the table tag. So let me apply the table responsive class in the style.css. So that is table responsive, and I'm going to use overflow x. So this is overflow, and we have to scroll on horizontally, so we have to use x direction, and we can use auto or scroll. So whatever it may be, it's both are fine. So let me save this overflow x. So when we are going to use overflow x, it will be fixed to the width of the device, and automatically it scrolls to the next. Let me save this and execute in the browser once. So here this one, refresh, and we're not able to see this. I'm going to use iPad. Even here also we are not getting responsive because, okay, let me open this in incognito window. The history is stored in here, so it's better to open it in incognito window. It's clear, and I would like to check the responsiveness of it. Now it's clear. So I would like to open this in mobile device. Yes, this is clear. So when we are going to have multiple columns, so in that situation here we have only 3 columns. That is the reason we are able to see the exact result. So when we are going to visit multiple columns, so that is very bad criteria, bad design. So in that case we have to use this overflow x direction. So this direction, overflow x and auto. So this is all about today's session, and we'll continue from tomorrow again.
Excuse me, Hanuman sir.
Yes, yes.
Some of the students are asking document link. Could you please share the link again?
Okay, okay. So I will share that in chat box. So you can find the document from this link. So this is all about today's session, and we'll continue from tomorrow again. Thank you, one and all.
Excuse me, Hanuman sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, a few of the students are not following the sessions due to their internet connectivity issue. And
Okay.
try to share the GitHub link also to recall the code.
Okay, okay, okay.
It's
I will
better.
share the. Yes, yes. We already created a repository in the GitHub. I will push the entire coding part in that. And recently, I came to know that you are having a WhatsApp group. So I will share the link to you, and you can share that in group so
Yeah,
that they can follow.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So Durga Vasu messaged us that yes, some topics are missing. I think Mr. John was shared a link to them. Okay, I go through that link and this one. I think this one. So in CSS, introduction to CSS completed, creating and importing created, and applying styles, that is also created. Selectors, color, background, fonts, text, links, lists, tables. Box model is clear, and we didn't use the lists. I will discuss about lists tomorrow, and we didn't use the outline also. Similarly, cursor. So we discussed the overflow. So for responsive web design, we have to use overflow. Just now discussed, and yes, display we already discussed. I think they didn't mention any kind of flexbox concept, but flexbox concept is a advanced concept. That is the reason I mentioned flexbox concept, but in the document I'm not able to see any kind of flex. Okay. Similarly, we need to discuss the shadows. Shadows is also discussed. Yes, text to overflow and the gradients. So we have to discuss few more concepts. That is 2D transformations, gradients, and positions are also discussed. Yes, yes, we didn't discuss Z index. Okay, definitely we will discuss about these concepts tomorrow. So this is the WhatsApp group link. Okay, I will share that. Thank you everyone.